Hi, third grade. Welcome back. Today we're going to start on lesson 12.6. And just to clarify, we skipped to chapter 12. Hopefully you've realized this by now. And the reason why is because I thought we would be back in school earlier than May. And so I thought we could do chapter 12 first, and then we'd finish chapter 10 and 11 back at school. But now I'm not sure if that's going to happen. So that's why we're doing chapter 12 now. And then we'll go back and do chapter 10 and 11 in the next few weeks. So you need to be on page 729, and the lesson is called Draw Quadrilaterals. And if you remember, a quadrilateral is a polygon that has 4 sides. Okay, so let's get started. I'm going to read right from your book. You have learned to classify quadrilaterals by the number of pairs of opposite sides that are parallel, by the number of pairs of sides that are of equal length, and then the number of right angles. So for our first activity, we're going to use this grid paper, and we're going to use the grid paper that the book has given us. You're not using the grid paper that I gave you yet. That is for chapter 11. So it also says to use a ruler. If you'd like to use your ruler, you can, but you don't have to right now. Okay, use a ruler to draw line segments from points A to B. So let's do that first. So on our book, we're going to draw a line from A to B, and then from B to C. So I'm going to do my best to just draw a straight line from B to C, and from C to D, and from D to A. Okay, so looking at this shape here, are there any sides that are parallel? Are there any sides that won't ever touch? And the answer is yes. This line segment A to B and D to C, those are parallel, those won't touch. So there's one pair of parallel sides. And are any of these sides the same length? I don't think so. So what can you think of a name for this quadrilateral? So ones that we've talked about are trapezoids, rectangles, squares, rhombuses. So the best name for this one would be a trapezoid. Okay, let's move on. All right. So here's 3 examples of a quadrilateral. Draw an example of a polygon that is not a quadrilateral. So if we're looking at all of these shapes here, they all have 4 sides. How would we draw a shape that is not a quadrilateral? Well, if a quadrilateral has 4 sides, we would have to draw a shape that does not have 4 sides. So here are some examples. That is not a quadrilateral because it has 3 sides. Here's another example. This has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's not a quadrilateral because it has 6 sides. So there's a lot of different examples that we could come up with that are not quadrilaterals. So it says explain why your polygon is not a quadrilateral. So we could say because we drew 2 shapes, so we have to say they, because they do not have 4 sides. or 4 angles. And quadrilaterals have to have 4 sides and 4 angles. And remember, if you need to press pause on the video, do so, and then press play when you're ready to continue. All right. Go ahead and turn the page. Okay, so we're looking at B here. It says, here are 3 examples of a square. Draw a quadrilateral that is not a square. So there's more than one answer here. There's more than one way to do this. To draw a quadrilateral that is not a square. Well, we know that a square has to have 4 sides that are all the same length. And they have to have, these sides need to be parallel and these sides need to be parallel. So we could draw, let's see. That's a quadrilateral, but it's not a square because it does not have 4 sides of equal length. So that's what we can write. So this is not a square because it does not have 4 sides of equal length. Okay. If you did a different one, that's fine. Just tell me why it's not a square. Okay, let's move on to C. Okay, here are 3 examples of a rectangle. Draw a quadrilateral that is not a rectangle. So again, there's more than one right way to do this. If you're with me, I'm going to draw this one. So here's a side. It has to have 4 sides, so that's 1, 2, 3, and a 4. So I want you to think about why this is not a rectangle. If you remember what rectangles have to have 4 right angles, and this shape does not. And opposite sides need to be parallel. This shape here has one pair of opposite sides that are parallel, but it does not have 2. So not a rectangle because, so that's what we're thinking of. It's not a rectangle. Why? Because it does not have 4 right angles and, or we should say, or, does not have 4 right angles, or 2 pairs of parallel lines. Okay. Okay, moving on. Let's talk about a rhombus. Here are 3 examples of a rhombus. Draw a quadrilateral that is not a rhombus. So all 3 of these shapes have something in common. All 4 sides are the same length. If you took your ruler and you measured every side on each of these quadrilaterals, they would be the same length. So we need to draw a quadrilateral that has sides that are not all the same length. So maybe something like this. Right now, those are the same length, but when I connect them, let's see. So this top side, the blue sides are the same length, but the orange sides are not. So this is not a rhombus. Why isn't it a rhombus? Because all four sides are not the same length. Okay. All right, let's keep going. If you have not already, I want you to turn your page so that you are on page 731. Okay. And we're going to do numbers 2 and 3. So we're skipping to 2. Oops, my pen. 2 and 3. Okay. So you need to draw a quadrilateral that they're describing, and then you need to name that quadrilateral. Okay, so number 2. 2 pairs of sides of equal length. Okay. Let's see. This side could be 3, and this could be 3, and then the bottom is 2, and the top is 2. So that would be a rectangle. Number 3, 4 sides of equal length. There's more than one answer. So if I'm counting these little squares, each side would have to be 2 units long. Okay, that is a square. Okay. Okay, so for number 7 and 8, it says draw a quadrilateral that does not belong and then explain why. So we need to think about what all 3 of these shapes have in common and then draw one that wouldn't fit. Well, let's look at the sides. Here we have a square. All 4 sides are the same length. Here we have a rhombus. All 4 sides are the same length. And a rectangle. All 4 sides are not the same length. But what do they have in common is they have opposite sides that are parallel. So we need to draw a shape that has opposite sides that are not parallel. Here's an example. Okay, 4 sides, not opposite sides are parallel. Okay, so let's say does not have two pairs of parallel sides. Okay. So for number 8, can you think of a shape that would not fit here? Right away, I can see that all of these shapes, all of these quadrilaterals, they all have right angles. So if we're thinking of a shape that does not fit, we could just draw a shape that doesn't have right angles. Okay, so does not have right angles. Okay. All right. Okay, that's where, let's skip to number 12. So I want you to turn your page and go all the way to number 12. All right, let's read this problem together. Jordan drew one side of a quadrilateral with two pairs of opposite sides that are parallel. Draw the other three sides to complete Jordan's quadrilateral. So he drew one side of it. What we know is that his quadrilateral has two pairs of opposite sides that are parallel. So that means his shape, this line here, has to be parallel to that line there. And it says that opposite sides are parallel. So we would know that these are parallel. And to make it a quadrilateral, we have to have four sides. So that means this side and this side are also parallel. So that is a shape that he could have been drawing. Okay, we're going to stop there. And then I want you to continue on and finish your homework. Make sure to save all of this homework because you will be turning it in to me along with your math book. So make sure that everything that you're working on, you're keeping safe in that folder because you will still be turning it in for me to grade. Okay, third grade, thanks for being here. If you have any questions, you can email me, have your parents email me, or you can comment on today's assignment. Okay, thanks. See you tomorrow.